Hello, very good morning. Today our class is Establishment of LAN. We are going to discuss on Establishment of LAN under the topic Network Addressing and Management. In the last class, we have seen preparation of straight through cable and also crossover cable. In the LAN, there is an importance for UTP, unshielded twisted pair cable, that is nothing but Cat5 cable. For connecting, we have to make certain arrangements and certain connections. And those connections are connecting the Cat5 cable to RJ45 jack, enter that RJ45 jack to be inserted in LAN port of desktop computer or laptop computer. For preparation of such cable, we are following two methods: straight through cabling and crossover cabling. Depends upon the devices which we are using in the LAN establishment. If we are connecting two similar devices, then we have to use crossover cabling. If we are connecting two dissimilar devices like computer switch, computer hub, like in that way, we have to use straight through cabling. So there is wire arrangement, separate wire arrangement in straight through cable and also crossover cabling, because the twisted pair cable contains 8 wires in it, each are having different color, and 8 colors are there. Those 8 colors have to be arranged in a particular manner, wire positions according to the straight through cable and crossover cable. These are the things we have discussed in the last class. So in this class, we are going to see how to establish a LAN. So LAN is nothing but local area network. So far we have seen in one of the topic what is meant by LAN, local area network, what is meant by WAN, wide area network, and what is meant by MAN, metropolitan area network. We have seen. So among these, the LAN is having most important importance in establishment of computer networks. So that's why we are going to learn how to establish a LAN in the home or in an office and everywhere. So before going to discuss about establishment of LAN, we will see what is meant by LAN first, how it looks like, and what are the components for it. So after that, we will see what is establishment of LAN. So our topic is today establishment of LAN. So before that, we will see what is local area network. A local area network is a group of computers connected to each other in a small area such as building or office. Suppose if we are running an office comprised of 20 to 30 computers and some printers and some scanners and some other devices. So we require the sharing of information among all these computers, and uh, we have to share the information among these, and also we have very few printers. That's why these printers have to be shared. So for sharing the information and also sharing the resources, we require connectivity among all these devices. So for connecting all these devices, generally we use LAN. So it's a small network. A group of computers or group of devices can be connected in a network. Is called LAN. So LAN is used for connecting two or more personal computers through a communication medium such as twisted pair, coaxial cable, and etc. LAN is less costly as it is built with inexpensive hardware such as hubs, network adapters, and Ethernet cables. The data is transferred at an extremely faster rate in local area network. Local area network provides higher security. So this here we can see an establishment of LAN as a LAN network diagram. Here, different devices are connected. Here, if you see, it is a server 1 and here server 2, and this is a client and the printer. And these four are called, these four devices, these four components are connected to hub. And here we have router, Wi-Fi router. To this, a mobile phone is connected, a tablet is connected, a laptop is connected, and also a desktop is connected. And also we are having wireless facility, Wi-Fi facility is. So from this is a global internet. We are getting internet to the router first. So in between router and internet there is a firewall which filters the unnecessary data, any harmful data from the internet, and after filtering it passes the required information and clean information to the router. From this router we are extending the internet connectivity to all the devices through this hub. So here we are getting the internet after filtering. This through this router we are extending our internet connectivity to the hub, so that through this hub we are extending the connectivity to all these four devices, here client, server 1, server 2 and printer. This is one network, and we are also extending the internet connectivity to this router first. Again this is called Wi-Fi router because it is exhibiting Wi-Fi facility with this. So we are connecting physically with wire, mobile phone and tablet phone, laptop, client, and also we are having wireless facility, wireless fidelity facility with this. So we are extending the internet connectivity in one end to this wire and also to this connectivity. So here four devices connected to this router, and here also four devices are connected to the router. So this establishment is a small environment. This is called a LAN environment, local area network diagram. Here we have one thing we have to remember: without internet also we can connect all these devices. So if assume that there is no internet facility, outside connectivity facility to all these devices. So this at that situation, so these six devices, eight devices here, we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 8 devices are connected to the network. So information can be exchanged, shared among all these devices. And here there is no processing unit in it. It can print only the data, everything. So this printer can be shared by all the units which are connected in the network. So since this is a facility in LAN, so anything can be shared among all these devices, and all the clients or servers or your clients also, and tablet and my mobile phone can print anything on this printer. So if the printer is not connected in the network, so no one can take the printout in this. So if the printer is standalone system, so if anyone, suppose this client wants to take the printout, he has to copy his data to a pen drive or a CD-ROM drive. Then there is no question of connecting if it is standalone. So if the printer is connected to server, or if printer is connected to this laptop, that is confined to this laptop only. So it is not shared. If it is shared, we can take the printout. So the establishment of LAN looks like this, and advantage of this is we can share the information among this, and we can share the devices also. So that is advantage. This is a one type of LAN network diagram. So this is another type of LAN network diagram. Here this is one computer. All the computers are connected in network. So information is passing through one computer to another computer, depends upon the requirements, depends upon the demand. So any computer in this network can communicate with another computer. So this is another establishment of LAN. Here we have a server, there are 3 nodes are there, here we are having 2, here we are having 3, again we are having 2, and again we are having 3 systems. These all are connected in network, so information can be exchanged among all these. So here also another LAN establishment, there are 4 systems connected. So information can be established and can be shared among all these four devices. So any of the system can send to information to any other system. So a local area network is a group of computer and peripheral devices which are connected in a limited area such as school, laboratory, home and office building. And LAN is widely useful network for sharing resources like files, printers, games and other applications. The simplest type of LAN network is to connect computers and a printer in someone's home or office. In general, LAN will be used as one type of transmission medium. A LAN may be wired, wireless or combination of the two. A LAN can be established with wiring, nothing but physical connection among all the devices which are in the network. LAN can be wireless. There will be no physical connectivity among all the devices which are in the LAN. And sometimes we may have the both wired connectivity and also wireless connectivity. So nowadays, the combination of these two, nothing but wired and wireless facility, wireless, are we are using in establishment of the LAN, because some of the devices require wired facility and some devices can work on wireless facility. So that's why we are having maximum in both of these two techniques in the establishment of LAN. A standard wired LAN uses Ethernet cable to connect devices together. Wireless LANs are typically created using a Wi-Fi signal. Wi-Fi signal is nothing but wireless fidelity signal, so which is allowing network connectivity wirelessly without connecting any physical connectivity with the help of radio waves. If a router supports both Ethernet and Wi-Fi connections, it can be used to create a LAN with both wired and wireless devices. So this is most important. Nowadays, almost all routers are having the facility both in Ethernet port and also Wi-Fi connectivity. So that to create a LAN in both wired and wireless devices, we are using these general routers. So most residential LANs use a single router to create the network and manage all the connected devices. The router acts as the central connection point and enables devices such as computers, tablets and smartphones to communicate with each other. So router is playing a crucial role, important role in establishing LAN because it acts as central connection point and it enables the devices such as computers, tablets, smartphones to communicate with each other wirelessly and also with wire. The typical router is connected to a cable or a DSL modem which provides internet access to connected devices. So like this, a router can be established. So router can be connected to the internet. There are certain facilities. So from internet service provider, we get the internet from the an internet service provider, and we are connecting the router. From this router, we are able to connect. We are able to extend the network to other systems through hub. If the routers, generally the routers are having ports on it here like this. Generally there are 4 ports available to connect the Ethernet cable and also Wi-Fi facility like this. So we can connect maximum of 4 systems to these 4 ports. One of the port is available for connecting the internet facility. So among the 4, by using 4 available ports, we can able to connect 4 devices maximum. If that number 4 is exceeded, then we have to extend the connectivity by using or establishing hub or switches like this. So we are taking the connectivity from one of the port available in the router to this hub. So this hub can be a port hub or a switch we are using simultaneously now here. So this switch or hub may be 8 port or 16 port or 24 port or 32 port. So that if our hub or switch is 24 port facility, so that we can connect maximum 23. One port is given to we are connecting from router. So here also from router, one of the available port to we are connecting router. So again, this router is having 4 ports with it, 4 Ethernet ports with it, and also it is having the facilities of Wi-Fi facility. So all the Wi-Fi enabled devices can be connected to this router or internet through wireless, and all the devices which do not have wireless facility with them, wireless enabled facility with them, like this desktop computers generally they do not have any wireless facility with that, so that we have to connect to this computer with the help of wire only. So this is a combination of both wireless and wired LAN establishment. So here, if a router supports both Ethernet and Wi-Fi connections, it can be used to create a LAN with both wired and wireless devices. So in this residential areas, typically the router is connected to a cable or DSL modem, which provides internet access to connected devices. A computer may also be the central access point of LAN. In this setup, the computer acts as server, providing connected machines with access to files and programs located on the server. It also includes LAN software used to manage the network and connected devices. LAN servers are more common in business and educational networks since the extra capabilities are not required by most home users. So generally home users do not require any extra capabilities. Home user generally they want only connectivity among all the devices which they are using. Whereas in business and also education networks, there must be a server. In a server-based LAN, devices we connect directly to the server or indirectly via a router or a switch. So this is one of the establishment. So clearly we can say that for business and educational institutions networks, LAN is a little bit different from home establishments. Because in educational and business areas, generally there is a requirement of server. So generally we establish the server, and also all the devices which are in the LAN are connected to the server. So anything we want, we can get the information from the server like that. So in the home-based network in LAN, there is no requirement of such LAN. Simply we connect all the devices by means of some connectivity method. So LAN features are the geographical coverage is small, only a relatively independent local area within the giant, such as a centralized building. And LAN uses special late transmission media for networking, delivering high data transfer rate, that is 10 Mbps to 10 Gbps. Communication delay time is very short, and LANs are very high reliability, and LAN can support variety of transmission media. So these are the features of establishing the LAN. So now we will see, we have seen what is meant by LAN, how LAN it will be. So what are the situations in the LAN, and how the LANs looks like this in this environment. So how the LAN establishment diagram with help of diagram. So now we will see how we will establish a LAN. This is LAN establishment. So there are 5 steps to successful LAN implementation. Simple steps. So we have to procure equipment needed for establishment of LAN. Connect the first computer. And set up the Wi-Fi. Connect to the internet. Connect the remaining devices. These are the simple steps in establishment of successful LAN. So first one is we have to procure the required equipment needed for LAN establishment. So we have to write down what are the devices required for the establishment of LAN first. After procuring the equipment, we have to connect the first computer and then set up the Wi-Fi, then connect to the internet, and then connect the remaining all the devices which we want to be included in the LAN. So these are 5 steps in successful implementation of LAN. So in the step 1, in this we are going to discuss broadly. Step 1, determining the network needs. When we are going to establish a LAN, First, we have to determine what are the needs, why we need the LAN establishment. That we have to note down first. Next one is here, count the number of computers need to hardware. It means how many computers we are going to be connected, we are going to connect in the LAN, and among those, what is the number of computers which require the physical wire connectivity. So when setting up a LAN, we need to know how many computers will be connecting to the network via Ethernet cable. Why? This will determine the number of ports we will need. And if you want to connect 4 or less computers, then we need to hardware and we will just need a router. If we want to connect more than 4, we are likely need to get a switch to extend the number of ports available on the router. So first, we have to note down the networking needs. In that, how many computers are going to be connected. Among the how many computers we are going to connected, again we have to count how many computers need hard wiring, that is nothing but physical wiring and physical connectivity. Based on that physical connectivity, and we have to measure the length also, because in which position, where we are going to establish, I mean set up the computers. What is the distance among them? What is the distance between two computers? And what is the placement setup of router? And what is the length of the wire required for each and every computer? We have to measure and decide if we want to create a wireless network. So here we have seen how many computers are going to be connected in the LAN. Among them, how many computers need physical connectivity, nothing but hardware connectivity among them. So we have noted this point. Next thing, decide if we want to create a wireless network. If we want to allow devices to connect wirelessly, we will need a router that can broadcast a wireless network, that is nothing but the router which is having Wi-Fi facility with it. Most routers have wireless capabilities. Now the available maximum routers are available capability of wireless. Network switches do not allow wireless devices to connect and can only be used for hardwired LANs, so are to extend the number of ports available to the router. So generally, network switches do not exhibit, they are not having the facility of wireless, but they extend the LAN signal with hardware, I mean physical connectivity with the wire, I mean, with the help of Ethernet cable, we can extend the LAN connectivity with the help of switch. So next step is determine if we want all network devices to have internet access. So as we have already discussed about this, if we are going to establish a LAN without internet access, or if we are going to establish LAN with internet access. So we have to see, determine if we want all network devices to have internet access. If we want all of the connected devices to have access to the internet, we will need a router to handle their connections. If we do not need the devices to have a network connection, we can just use a network switch. So as switch do not have wireless capacity, wireless capability, we can establish a LAN with the help of switches when there is no need of internet access. But nowadays, every computer needs internet access. If you are getting internet from internet service provider, without establishment of LAN, we can give the connectivity to a single system, or if we are using a router, we can give a maximum to 4 systems internet activity facility. If we want to extend the internet facility beyond the 4 number of devices, then we have to use a router and we have to extend that internet facility by using network switches or hubs. So next thing, measure the distances for all the hardware devices. This is most important. Before going to establish a LAN in an office or home or a building, we have to make the setup parts. It means where we are going to set up the desktops, where we are going to use the laptops, where we are going to set up printers if any, where we are going to set up scanners if any. So we make a diagram for it. We make a diagram for it where the systems are installed, where the systems are there, and where we are getting the establishing the router, and where we are establishing the switches, and how many number of switches are required for it. So we have to measure the distances for all the hardware devices. So this is not much of an issue in most homes, but network cables cannot run longer than 100 meters. So if our LAN cable to be run over 100 meters, that is nothing but 300 plus feet, then we have to use a switch between them to extend the networking capability beyond the 100 meters here. So if we have to run cable further than this, we will need switches in between. Next, consider the future needs. If we are filling all of the ports on the hardware, consider future proofing to allow devices in the future. So now we are going to establish a LAN with some devices, with some switches and ports and switches and routers and everything. And also we must consider the future needs based on our LAN capacity and also our requirement, and growing up our requirement, needs may increase. Nothing but in future there may be a requirement of adding another more devices to the existing LAN. So then what is the situation then? That's why we have to consider future needs also. Nothing but after establishing the present LAN system, there must be a provision in the LAN which we are going to establish to connect extra devices to the existing LAN. So that is the future need. So we have to consider these future needs also. So now we have seen determine the networking needs, number of computers and everything. And we have decided whether we have to create a wireless network or not. And we have decided whether we want internet access or not. Of course, we want internet access. And we have measured the distances for all the hardware devices, and we have measured the length of the cable required for connecting all the hardware devices to be connected. And we have considered all the future needs. Then what is the next step? We have to gather the equipment. Gather the equipment. What are the equipments needed? To set up LAN, we need a network switch or a router, an Ethernet cable plus extra ones for every device we want to connect via cable. So as much cable as required, we have to purchase. And a computer, compulsory we required a computer. With the help of computer only we are able to connect a LAN first. We are able to establish a LAN first. Then all of the rest of the devices. So here all the rest of the devices includes all the desktop computers, all the laptop computers which are going to be connected, all the mobile phones or smartphones or printers, and any other device which is to be connected in the LAN. If we want LAN to connect to the internet, we also need a broadband connection, a router, a modem. A modem is nothing but modulator and demodel if there is not one built onto the router. So these are the equipment required for us to establishing the LAN. So as much we have decided how many switches and router required here. And length, we have also measured the cable length. According to the length which we have measured, we have to purchase it. The computer is required. In all the rest of them, already we have these devices which wants network connectivity. If we want the LAN to be connected to internet, we also need a broadband connection, nothing but outside broadband connection. Generally, we will get this broadband connection from ISPs, internet service providers, and a router and also modem. So these are the equipment needed for establishing a LAN. So after procuring this equipment, what is our step? First, we have to set up the router. Plug it into a power source because any router requires a power. So first we have to put that plug into the power source, preferably close to the modem if we plan on sharing the internet connection through it. So like this, so this is a router. So we have to plug in the power socket. Next, connect the modem to the router if necessary. If we want to share the internet connection from the modem, connect the modem to the WAN or internet port on the router. This is usually different color from the other ports. So like this. So we have to connect the internet which we are getting from modem. We have to connect to the router. So like this, we have to connect to the router. In this router, it is a WAN port we are going to connect. So here we are connecting to the WAN port. This is LAN port. From the router, we are connecting to it. Connect the switch to the router if necessary. If we are using a switch to expand the number of ports available on the router, plug an Ethernet cable into any LAN port on the router and any LAN port on the switch. This will expand the network to the rest of the LAN ports on the switch. So here from the modem we are connecting to the router, and if you want to extend, because generally routers are having only 4 ports on it. 4 ports on it, we can give internet connectivity which we are getting from a modem. First we have to get the internet connectivity from outside world to modem. Then if you want to use only single system internet connectivity, some directly from modem to our single computer we can have the internet. But if we want to extend that internet which is coming from an internet service provider through our modem, if we want to extend it, that output of the modem internet connectivity, we have to connect it to the router first. That extends. And from the router, further if we want to extend beyond the 4, because router allows only 4 ports, beyond the 4, then we have to establish switches and we have to connect from the router to any switch. So like this we can have. And connect the computers to a open LAN ports. Use Ethernet cables to connect each computer to an open LAN port on the router or switch. It does not matter what order the ports are connected in any order we can connect, because in a switch, if it is 8-port switch, there are 7 ports are available. If it is 16 ports switch, there are 15 ports are available. So because one of the port is used for getting the connectivity from other router generally. Ethernet cables cannot reliably transfer data at lengths larger than 100 meters. So if any device set up beyond 100 meters from our router establishment or from our modem, then we have to use switches which extend the connectivity. After 100 meters, then we can extend from there. We connect the computers to open LAN ports. On a Windows PC, using a network switch or router for the first time should bring up the setup a network wizard. This thing will be set up automatically. If it does not appear, or if we have already used this router, go to the network and sharing center and set up a new connection on network. We will then be taken through steps so that we can connect to LAN ports. So like this, we can connect the net cable to our system. So then if we connect this LAN cable to a LAN port in our desktop or laptop computer, so this computer is set to be connected in the LAN. So after that, setting up Wi-Fi. If we want devices connected to the network wirelessly, the best choice for smartphones, tablets, streaming sticks, and so on, we will need to set up Wi-Fi. Because generally, smartphones and tablets do not have network port facility with them. And this, if you want internet facility to our smartphones or tablets, we must have wireless technology. Generally, this wireless technology we will get through the Wi-Fi facility, wireless fidelity facility, which is available with all routers, so that we can connect the smartphones and tablets to the internet through the Wi-Fi. Of course, we only want computers to connect to the LAN via Ethernet cable. We can skip this step. It means if you don't want to connect smartphones and tablets or streaming stick or any other devices to be not to be connected through the Wi-Fi. If you want only our computers to be connected to the LAN via Ethernet cable, so we can skip this setting of Wi-Fi. So generally, it's a perfect need nowadays for every user, every home or every office setting up Wi-Fi. The router or network switches manual will tell how to enable Wi-Fi on it, so follow those instructions. Then generally, all the routers are coming with Wi-Fi facility, and also they are supplying the manual how to establish Wi-Fi facility with that particular router. So according to the manual which they supply, we have to follow the instructions. But remember to make sure Wi-Fi is as secure as it can be. Most important thing, if we are establishing a Wi-Fi, we must set up in a secured manner. The router or network switch will provide with a default SSID, the name of the network, and Wi-Fi password and login info. Because Wi-Fi must be secured. To keep things secure, it's best to challenge all of this. What are the challenges? So default SSID, that is nothing but name of the network. We have to set Wi-Fi password and also login information. Log on to the router using the router login info. Depending on the router and the provider, will either need to do via a web browser on the computer or by going through the network settings. Change the SSID to custom name to differentiate it from the neighbors. Then change the Wi-Fi password to something unique, preferably including lowercase letters, uppercase letters, numbers, and also special symbols. Change the router login password to something unique, too different from the Wi-Fi password, of course. So we must set up Wi-Fi password and also router password here to establish a wireless connectivity. If we do not set the Wi-Fi password and also if we do not set the router password, then this wireless facility will become open to all the users, nothing but all the nearby users. So any user can use this Wi-Fi. So for that, to prevent unauthorized users, we must set Wi-Fi password and also we must set router password. Pick the most advanced security technology currently, that is nothing but WPA2, Wi-Fi protected access. We may need to restart the computer to see the changes to effect at this juncture. So next step, connect to the internet. How to connect to the internet? The idea of a LAN is to connect different devices to each other. But if we wanted to have internet access too, we need to set it up again. So basic idea of the LAN is to connect to different devices in an office or in a home or some other small area to communicate each other. But these devices wants internet access, then we need to set up. If we are already having a working router and broadband connection, we should just be able to plug in and go. If we are setting up a new router or an internet connection, on the other hand, we will need to follow the instructions given by a broadband provider or nothing but internet service provider or router manufacturer. Either way, we will need to plug the router and modem into the home's main phone line using the router's WAN port. So after establishing the internet and Wi-Fi connectivity, connect the rest of the devices. Now, if we want to connect the other devices to the LAN like other computers, laptops, smartphones, tablets, TV setup boxes, games consoles, streaming sticks, anything that might need to get online, and this can be done via Wi-Fi or Ethernet cable. So now we have to the time come to connect all the rest of the devices. These rest of the devices include other computers which you are using, laptops which you are going to use, smartphones, tablets, TV set-top boxes, game consoles, streaming, etc. Anything which needs to get in online. These can be connected through the wireless facility, through the Wi-Fi or Ethernet cable. To connect Wi-Fi, turn on Wi-Fi and select the home network from the list. It should be pretty recognizable because we have already changed the SSID to a custom name. We will then prompt it to enter the new secure password. Then another thing, connecting with an Ethernet cable is far simpler. Just plug one end into the network switch or router and the other end into the device so that we will get connectivity. So after connecting, get sharing. A LAN can help to share resources across it, such as devices, files, and media. With Windows PCs, we can create a home group. Go to the control panel, then network, select the network and internet, then home group and select create a home group. Windows will take through the home group setup wizard and gives a password that other devices will need in order to connect to it. This is also where we can establish individual user accounts on new LAN. So like this we can share all the resources. So these are the steps in establishing the LAN. Now we will see these steps in a glance. Steps to set up LAN network at glance. So steps to set up network LANs, identify the local services that we want available on the network, identify the network attached printers, network disk drives, any server that will share printers or disks. So here we have to identify first all the services and local devices and network devices which wanted to be connected in the LAN. Identify how many devices will have to connect to the network. Each device, server, workstation will require a unique address. The most important point in the LAN is after connecting all the devices, we must give nothing but we must assign IP address. And this IP address must be automatically can be also obtained or we can give manually by following the rules of IP addressing rules classes, class A, class B and class C. Based on the depends upon the size of the network. Then run cables to workstation where possible. A wired LAN will always get better performance and be more secure than a wireless LAN. This is most important point. So wired LAN will always get better performance and also more secure than wireless LAN. Wherever possible, run a cable to servers, printers, IP phones and also work locations. Run a cable to any area where we are likely to work because this can be freed. If you want to network connectivity in some area, but at presently may not be using that area, but we can run the cable there also, so that in future we can set up the device and we can have the network facility there itself. Use standard Ethernet cables or building wiring as installed according to the TIA 568 standard. Select and purchase a switch or a cable router. A simple, secure way to connect to the internet is to use a cable router. Many makes and models are available in the market. If the model you choose does not have enough ports to connect all of the computers, then we need to purchase a switch as well. Now configure the WAN port of the cable router. Configuration details will vary from vendor to vendor, so that generally any vendor, when we purchase any router, generally they will provide instruction manual. So based on the instruction manual, we can connect the router. Key information we need to configure the WAN port will be supplied by our internet service provider. So configure the LAN ports of the cable router now. Most cable routers will act as dynamic host configuration server or DHCP server. This means that the router will give addresses to workstations automatically, and be certain that the address pool has enough addresses for all the workstations. This is generally the address pool, enough address spaces means it depends upon the class of the IP addresses which we are choosing. Make certain that there are enough addresses outside of the range for any host that need static addresses. For example, a network address with a mask of 255.255.255.0 has a total number of 254 hosts. If the dynamic pool has 200 addresses available, that means the remaining 54 addresses are available to give printers or server static addresses. So now connect the wires for the network. Workstations and the servers can be connected with standard Ethernet cable. Connect the switch to the cable router LAN ports by using the uplink or straight port on the switch. If the switch does not have a uplink port, connect any standard port of the switch to a LAN port on the cable router with an Ethernet crossover cable. Now, after connecting all the devices, test the services and internet connectivity. Test each of the workstation to ensure they can connect to the internet, and test any local servers and printers. Print test pages on the shared printers. Test read and write permissions on shared file servers by copying files to the servers and also copying files from the server to a desk workstation. So these are the steps for establishment of LAN. Tips and warnings here, when we are purchasing or anything, purchase a cable router with wireless capabilities to give more flexibility. Make sure cable lengths do not exceed 100 meters or about 300 feet, and do not run cables in 8 ducts unless they are fire rated, and check local building codes also. So these are the tips and warnings while establishing the LAN. So far we have seen how to establish a LAN, what is LAN and how it looks like, and also how to establish a LAN we have seen. Thank you.